2 weeks ago, I made a video called Men Need Poetry, and I gathered this big stack of books and poems and poets that I wanted to read as examples of men writing poetry that I think other men can read and immediately say, oh, that's talking about something I think about a lot. And one of the poems that didn't make it in there and is an odd little poem is the title poem from Dana Gioia's book, Pity the Beautiful. Now, when I first heard of Dana Gioia, I thought it was a woman. Dana, after all, is usually a woman's name. Well, Dana Gioia is a man. And if you go on YouTube and look up Dana Gioia poetry reading, you can find Dana Gioia has this really deep, resonant voice, which is just really cool. Just hearing him talk about anything is awesome. And so you can probably find him reading this poetry or this poem online. I want to read this poem to you and comment on it because we didn't get to talk about it, or it would have made an even longer video last time. But I think it's worth reading. It's a fun poem. This is called Pity the Beautiful. Pity the beautiful, the dolls and the dishes, the babes with big daddies granting their wishes. Pity the pretty boys, the hunks and Apollos, the golden lads whom success always follows, the hotties, the knockouts, the 10 out of 10s, the drop-dead gorgeous, the great leading men. Pity the faded, the bloated, the blousy, the paunchy Adonis whose luck's gone lousy. Pity the gods, no longer divine. Pity the night, the stars lose their shine. One of the things I like about this poem is that it uses language that is very cliched and uses it thoughtfully and runs this risk. Remember when I first read the poem, I didn't know if it worked. And I still think it's pretty daring. It runs this risk of sounding like maybe it's trying to recapture the meaning and the original significance of these terms. And yet it piles them on so much that it becomes very silly. Pretty boys, hunks, Apollos, golden lads, babes, hotties, knockouts. It's tongue-in-cheek, but it's also taking seriously that people take these terms seriously. It feels like it should almost be a jazz number. It sounds like you could sing it to an old jazz standard. But Gioia, who is great at rhyme and meter and great at this kind of playing with cultural cliche, he leads us from a first line, which could be a kind of like Keatsian line, pity the beautiful. Okay, where are we going, Gioia? He leads us then into really cliched lines. And then he leads us out again into more thoughtful, slow significance. Let's talk about how he does it. So, pity the beautiful, the dolls and the dishes, the babes with big daddies granting their wishes. These are short lines, and they're lines mostly of what we would call dimeter. And it's a loose dimeter. It's not a regular da-dun, 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 da-dun. It's pity the beautiful, da-da-da-da-da-da. The dolls and the dishes, da-da-da-da-da-da. The babes with the big daddies granting their wishes. Da-da-da-da-da-da, 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 da-da-da-da-da. So none of these lines are exactly metrically the same, but they all have this kind of rollicking two-beat rhythm. The babes with big daddies, big and dad are both stressed syllables, but you can almost elide the big into the dad as the main stress syllable there. It's got a loose swing to it, and you could sing it if you were a musician, and I am not a musician. Pity the pretty boys, the hunks and Apollos, the golden lads whom success always follows. That almost matches line for line the rhythmic structures of the first until we get to the third line. The golden lads whom is not the same metrically as the babes with big daddies, but both have more three stress syllables than two. We see that again in the third stanza with the drop dead gorgeous. But the paunchy Adonis in the third line of the fourth stanza. That's only 2 stressed syllables. There's not a third in there. And then pity the night. That's an even shorter line with a more kind of crystal clear 2 stressed syllables surrounding 2 unstressed syllables. Da 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 da. That's actually called a choriamb in ancient Greek lyric poetry. That could be what he's thinking about. So Gioia is giving us sort of a loose, rollicking dimeter in the first 3 stanzas, and we get these babes with big daddies, hunks and Apollos, 10s out of 10, drop dead gorgeous. He kind of moves from looking at terms for women, dolls, dishes, babes, to men, boys, hunks, Apollos, lads in the second stanza. But then in the third stanza, he gets broad, and these cliche phrases could kind of be about anyone, regardless of male or female. Hotties, knockouts, 10 out of 10s, drop dead gorgeous. Great leading men, of course, brings it back to a masculine focus. But then in the fourth stanza, we get to more conceptual descriptions. Pity the faded, the bloated, the blousy. Or is it blousy? It's going to rhyme with lousy or lousy. You can sort of figure out how you want to pronounce those words. Bloated and blousy start to play with our sound-making instruments of our throat and our mouth and our lips in a way that I think make us start paying attention to the words themselves more than 10s out of 10. It's easy to rattle that off and not think about the sound of it. But faded, bloated, blousy, paunchy Adonis. Adonis is a phrase for a good-looking man, but paunchy Adonis, that's not a cliche phrase. That's not golden lad or great leading men. That's a construction of Gioia's own design. And it can be fun to say paunchy Adonis. We have the aw, with some good p and d in the surrounding it. Really lovely. Luck's gone lousy or luck's gone lousy is another. It's a workout for the mouth, and we're out of the realm of cliche. And then we get into, the Parnassian or even the Olympian realm in the final stanza. Pity the gods, no longer divine. Pity the night, the stars lose their shine. This gets a little less sonically dense. It's very short. It's the shortest lines in the poem. Syllable count wise, it keeps that dimeter. But I actually think it brings us back a little bit and ropes back in a little bit of the cliche. The stars lose their shine. That's starting to sound more like, Hollywood stars and things like that. And yet we're up in these sort of like classical heavenly realm, such that the stars losing their shine it rings with significance in a way that if you just had stars lose their shine right after the great leading man or the drop dead gorgeous, it would just feel cliche. We're in Hollywood, we're on the Walk of Stars. But instead we've raised the concept of the star up into the classical heavens. This is not the most significant poem that Gioia wrote. It's not the most metrically dense or formally inventive, but it's a fun poem, and it's immediately accessible, and then takes us on a journey that I hope I've described in some detail enough to make us think, oh, this is a poem we could go back to. I really want someone to set this to music. If it has been set to music, please put it in the comments. If you want to set it to music, let me know. We should figure something out. Thanks for hanging out, talking about Dana Gioia's Pity the Beautiful.